What up, guys? Welcome to the No Cap Zone. This is where we talk about music stuff and all things going on in the industry. I'm your host, as always, APT Songs. We're doing a live edition today because why the heck not? You know, it's a nice day outside, and I'm like, I really want to talk about this topic, so we're getting into it. And today, we are going to be talking about Lizzo. And the fact that recently, you guys may be aware, she has lost quite a bit of weight. Like since she burst onto the scene in 2015 to now, she has been going through a journey where she started out relatively big sized and now she's shrunken down. And so, especially in the last like 5 years, she's really been doing her best to try to work out because let's be fair, she was a big girl and she came onto the scene and she was loud and proud about it. She was making songs about feeling good about herself and about the fact that she's feeling good in her own body, and the whole body positivity movement came about where she was like, hey, just because I'm big and huge, it doesn't mean that you can't be positive about how big you are. You should love your curves. You should love the body you're in. And that's the narrative she was pushing. And to be fair, she got a lot of female fans off of doing that to feel good about themselves in spite of them being in bigger bodies. But now that she's lost weight, there's been a lot of great commentary about the fact that she worked hard at it and that she's at a healthy body size. But there's also been some backlash from people who were formerly fans of hers that are saying, but you're smaller now. But what happened to all those years where you were talking about being big and being positive about it? And I just want to say that this shows that the body positivity movement at large, no pun intended, was a lie. All the stars before that were previously big that at one point touted, well, I'm big, but I got curves and we should be respected. And not to say you shouldn't have, but we should be respected and we should like our bodies and this is that. All those women that have lost weight now, they face the same backlash. And I want to kind of get into why the body positivity movement is a lie, and also why it is that particularly women fans of theirs that were once huge fans because of them being, happy about being big, they lose those fans, or those fans start to complain when these stars that they once, followed because they were bigger start to lose weight. I think it's all very, very interesting. So to start off with, let's get into the fact that, like I said, when Lizzo popped on the scene, she was unapologetic about who she was. And you could clearly see her concert after concert trying to wear like the skimpiest stuff, just like her female counterparts would, who were a little bit more fit and thin or whatever. But she was like, hey, I'm a bigger girl. I should be able to do this. Now, the world at large was pushing back on this. They were like, that's disgusting. I don't want to see that. And hey, I'm not saying whether I agreed or disagree with that. I just noticed that the world at large was saying, when you're dressing up in these things, it doesn't quite suit your frame. On top of, they were making a lot of commentary about the fact that the weight that she was at was in fact not a healthy weight. Now, Lizzo is 5'10", I believe. And I think at her biggest weight, she was at like 309 pounds. I myself am also a 5'10" guy, right? And so there's been times in my life where I was a little bit over. I think the top weight for people my size is supposed to be like 168. So like right now, I'm at like 180. The biggest I've ever been was 192. At 192, I could already feel my heart starting to have to work a little bit harder in order to like pump. And when I felt that, I was like, oh no, we gotta back this train on up, right? I cannot imagine how hard her body was working at 310 to try to be healthy. But the reality is people will force this lie that says, oh, well, just because you're a bigger size, it doesn't mean that you can't be healthy. Or there are skinny people that also happen to, also not be healthy. And while that can be true, that is an outlier. That is not the norm. Typically in a bigger body, especially when you don't have the body frame to hold that body, even if like, say you're 25 or even 35 and overweight, and you're like, I don't feel anything, so it's totally cool. You can't look at now, you got to look towards the future, because I've had plenty of relatives that were overweight their entire lives, and now they're in their 60s and 70s, and at the time, nothing was happening to them, but now, high blood pressure. Now, they're on medications. Now, they've had to have surgeries because their legs gave out after all those years of trying to carry that weight. So you can't buy into the lie that just because nothing's happening to you now and that you're big, but you still feel great, that it still can have repercussions for you later down the line. More often than not, it's going to. But anyway, she came on the scene like that. She pushed a whole lot of body positivity stuff. And when people would try to tell her, hey, that's not a healthy weight to be at, she took it personally and she'd be clapping back. How dare you say that? She literally had videos where she was like, I want to be fat, being big's not a bad idea, and I would never want to be a skinny girl and blah, blah, blah. Like she said all this stuff, right? In fact, we can go to the reel real quick. You can actually see on here an example of something that she said back in the day about body positivity. So let me just pull this up. All right, let's play this video real quick for you guys. Here we go.
The term body positive, technically, it only exists because of body shaming. You know, I think that people should naturally be body positive, and body positivity should be something that is like built in our culture.
Now, I get it. She's trying to say that we should be able to feel good at any weight that we're at, and that we shouldn't be shamed as a person just because we're at a bigger weight. And I actually agree. I don't think a person should necessarily be made to feel bad for being a big weight, but there is something to be said for, are people taking criticism of somebody's weight as a negative thing? Because if you're like, you know, if she was 310, or she was 5'10" and 300 plus odd pounds, right? There are probably doctors saying, hey, that's not a healthy weight to be at. There's probably people in her life that are like, hey, we want you around for a long time. You being at that weight is not healthy. Is telling somebody that the weight they're at isn't healthy suddenly a negative thing? Are we now shaming them because we're trying to tell them that wherever their health is not the best? On top of, let's just be real, because people always say the thing of like, well, people should want to lose weight for health reasons, not because of the whole looks thing. But to be honest, I'm sorry, people look better when they've lost the weight. Matter of fact, let me just pull myself up real quick. Like, we can look at Lizzo here, and we can say objectively, which version looks better? This version or this version? Let's not lie to ourselves, people. This version or this version? And she's getting a lot more positive comments from looking like this than she ever did looking like this. And you know, we could argue, people said, oh, but you're still big and beautiful. Well, people are saying that to make themselves feel good, especially if they're bigger people. They also don't want to be shamed, and I get it. But this, aside from looking better, is a healthier version of her than this. So it's okay to be like, we want people to look good and also be healthy. And I think that's where the conversation starts to get a little bit muddy. But anyway, we'll continue with Miss Lizzo here.
I had a song called I'm in Love with Myself, and I put that out in like 2015, and I was performing it on stage, and it would shock people. They would be like, oh my God, how dare she? Or wow, she's so brave. Or is she serious? Does she really love herself? And I'm like, why y'all asking all these damn questions? Like, what are you questioning about?
Okay, so I like this question. Why are we questioning that? And this is not a thing that happens all the time, but a lot of times, if you ask people that lost weight what it is that made them big in the first place, a lot of them, they said they experienced trauma, they were abused as a kid, they had other traumatic stuff happen in their past to where they use food as a means of covering all that up. And so when she says to people, well, why is it that people are asking me if I'm okay? It's because of that, because more often than not, a lot of people that are bigger people, it correlates with they're using food as a means to make themselves feel better, and they're not eating the right stuff, and therefore they're getting bigger. And again, I want to stress time and time again, this is not all people. Some people do have thyroid issues. Some people are just naturally born and they actually do have like big bones where they need more skin to cover that up, but that's not most people. Most people that are of a bigger weight outside of like medical things they're taking or whatever, like it's because they don't have the discipline to be able to eat the right stuff, and they're possibly covering up for other things that they have not gotten over. That is a real thing, all right? So that answers her question on that, but anyway, we'll continue on. Let's see, where did it go? There we go. All right, continuing on.
Me and my body and my love for myself. So at this point, I realized that my mere existence is a form of activism, especially in the body positive community. And I wear that hat really well or not wear that hat at all, according to this. It's so interesting that body positivity is a thing, but body negativity isn't.
Right.
And I think it's because body negativity is the norm.
Sure.
It's what's expected. So body positivity is this novel idea. And I think it has something to do with, consumerism in the media.
Yeah.
Because, they got to make money somehow. So they're selling you an idea of yourself that you haven't quite yet achieved. So your whole life, you've been taught to like blend in with people or like buy this to look better.
Yeah.
But that's ironic she says that, because that's what she was essentially doing initially with her stuff. Like, she was coming out and trying to sell other women on this idea that if they're big, don't do anything about it. Like, it's totally fine to be big. And they started calling fat curves, even though it's just bulgings of fat coming out. Like, again, she was really pushing the narrative that it was okay to be this big person. And so even though when she was doing that, though, I could myself see cracks within her narrative, because there'd be times when she would post up and say, oh, I'm big, look at me in this skimpy outfit. She would wear clothes to award shows where you could see through it, as if to say, hey, look at my big body, it's totally beautiful. But then she'd also be on Instagram, like, trying to clap back at people and saying that, like, she really felt bad about herself, and she'd be in this downward spiral. And hey, part of it could have been because she was getting commentary from other people saying, oh, you shouldn't be like that. But also, I genuinely think that she was not actually happy with herself. And the only way I know for sure I can tell that is because in the midst of trying to sell the public this narrative of it's okay to be big and beautiful and body positivity, she was working out. Like, the figure that she's at now, she's been trying to work to get to that figure since 2020. So on the one hand, she was trying to work out, while the other hand, she was saying, well, body positivity, but it's okay to totally be fat and all this other stuff. But you can't have two thoughts in your head, because they fight with each other. Like, you can't say, I'm trying to work out, and then go out into the world and say, oh, but being fat's okay, because your body's just going to be like, I guess I'll just stay fat. So I don't know what point she decided to change that, but I think it's at the point where she had the controversy with the dancers, where the dancers were like, Lizzo's being abusive to us. Oh my God, she's yelling at us and calling us names and saying we need to get in shape and blah, 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 blah. So because that happened and there was a lot of backlash from that, she took a break and actually went away for a little bit. And during that away time is when she wasn't on social media as much. She wasn't doing a lot of interviews, and that gave her time to actually probably sit down with herself and say, all right, let's go to business. From what I hear, she went to Bali, which I went to Bali last year. Bali is a great place, and it's a fantastic place to go if you're trying to get away from it all and lose weight, because the food there in Bali is way better, like much better for you. And because people are saying like, oh, she had $1,000 trainer and all sorts of stuff. Real talk, guys, if you ever go to Bali, this is not a commercial for Bali. If you go to Bali, you will be surprised at how low costing everything is. Like, I stayed in a hotel that was a 4-star hotel for like $50 a night. Like, the restaurants there, you can get a 5-course meal for like $16. Like, it's insane. So also, when you go to the stores in Bali to buy fruits and vegetables, they are dirt cheap on price. So you could go there and buy a whole bunch of stuff and not spend a whole lot of money and be able to lose weight, along with going to gyms that also don't cost a lot of money. But anyway, but I saw that happening when she was on Instagram and stuff, saying, I'm happy and blah, blah, blah. I could tell she wasn't happy. She was having too many crying episodes and too many depressive episodes to legitimately be happy in her body. On top of, she was probably frustrated that for years she was trying to work out and not being able to lose the weight. She made a couple of posts where she said, I eat right, I can't lose weight. I'm working out, I can't lose weight. I don't know what's going on. And so that let me know, even though she's trying to push this whole body positivity thing, she was not actually happy about her body. And so after the scandal happened, she went away. She was gone for a bit. And now, well, actually not even now, because I want to pull this up too. Back in August of last year, there was an article that came out in Lifestyle. Let's see if I can pull that up. So let me remove this article here. But there was an article that came out where somebody mentioned that she had been working out for quite a bit and that she was in fact starting to lose weight. So let me pull that up here or share that. All right. So let's share this one, right? So this article came out in September of last year, and it said, Lizzo quietly dropped 60 pounds after years of promoting a body positivity message. Goes on and says, now the plus size artist is singing a different tune after a major weight loss. A music industry source exclusively tells Life and Style that Lizzo, 36, who was openly proud of being obese, has shed more than 60 pounds from her 5'10" frame. After once tipping the scale at 308, she's now said to be down to a relatively swell 240. Now that was back in September. So you figure it's been like 6 more months since then. And judging from the new way she looks over here, she's definitely lost a lot more weight than that. So it says here, the world took notice at the People's Choice Award winner when she showed off her slimmer frame in a one-piece bathing suit. So this is in when she's in Bali, and this is back in September. Look at that. So even then, you already see, now she's going to have a lot of loose skin because she was a big girl, but she's lost weight, right? So it says in March, the Truth Hurts singer admitted she was tired of, quote, being the butt of every joke every single time because of how I look. Now, I will say this. I don't think it's fair to joke on people that are bigger because we don't know internally why they got that way. We don't know how hard they're working at something. Or like in the case of Selena Gomez, she's got Lyme disease, so she takes these medicines every so often that can cause her to be bigger. And there are people that legitimately are bigger because that's part of their journey is they're taking medications to better themselves, but it makes them gain weight. So I never believe in shaming and making fun of anybody. But I do believe that the fact that she got hurt by these jokes also indicates that she didn't really like being big, because there's plenty of other stars that remain big and are like, yeah, it's just part of what it is. People just joke with me, but I'm making these checks and making this money. I don't care. She clearly cared. So then it says on here, the singer has apparently had a change of heart since embracing her fuller figure. In January 2022, Lizzo danced around wearing a brown bodysuit and tights, crowing about gaining weight and looking good. So again, back then she was trying to say, hey, ladies, be big like me because it's totally fine. And I find that a lot of times that happens because, especially in the case of women, they don't want to feel alone and they don't want to feel like they're the only ones that had this problem. So they try to bring other people in. Hey, I'm big, but I don't want to be big by myself. So hey, you ladies also be big too. It's going to be totally cool. You'll be totally fine. Again, in spite of the fact that study after study shows that being bigger in the long run of your health is not good for you. So anyway, she's long preached how people shouldn't be ashamed of their bodies, including, quote, girls with bad fat, girls with bellies that hang, girls with thighs that aren't separated, that overlap, you know, girls who are in the 18 plus club. So that's like the size 18 plus, which is definitely not good for anybody, but especially for women. She says, but after dropping so much weight, she started using terms like body neutrality. She said, I'm taking some time every day to put love into my body. There's never a day when I regret taking a walk or doing some Pilates. So again, we now have competing narratives between, hey, ladies, remain fat, but over here, I'm going to be working out. This is where the frustration for her former fans starts to come in. But anyway, so she talks about some other stuff about her swim line, and she's been in Bali working out. And so some fans cheered on her noticeable weight loss. One person wrote, Lizzo, you look good. Share the secret with us. While another user added, girl, you're looking fit. And then I think there was another one. Other fans missed her curvier figure. One person told the musician, quote, okay, that's enough, Lizzo. Please don't lose too much. While another mourned, no, I liked her weight. It's what made her Lizzo. So you're going to see this, by the way, be a very popular thing that happens when women in particular start to lose weight, is that there are going to be other women that were formerly cheering her on for being big start to be like, no, don't do that. How dare you? Why are you doing this to yourself by losing weight, when they start to try to get into better shape? And I really want to talk about why it is that happens, because honestly, it's a struggle. I mean, women at large are always getting their bodies commented on. And so it sucks that when a woman's at a bigger weight, there's going to be a fair portion of people, rightly so, they're going to be like, that's not healthy. You shouldn't be that big. And then when she gets skinnier, people are going to be like, hey, that's too skinny. What are you doing? Or how dare you get thinner? You're chasing away part of your fan base. How dare you do that? And I understand that that's the thing that women have to deal with more so than men, because most men, like, real talk, there have been male actors and singers who have gone through a weight loss journey. And you know what guys' response are? Awesome. Way to go, dog. And then we go back on our merry way. We're not sitting there in the comment section, oh, how dare you, Rick Ross, lose all this weight? Or how dare you, what's his freaking name? Other name of white person or that lost weight also, how dare you do? Like, we're just kind of like, look, dog, like, whether you're big or not, we're going to be friends with you. But if you get smaller, you'll be around longer. And we respect that. But we're not going to like go on this tirade. But like, women don't make other women feel bad for losing weight. So why is it this happens? Why is it that this happens? Well, for one, the big thing, I will say this, the overall arching thing is that these bigger stars, when they're big, are trying to make women buy into the lie that there's such a thing as body positivity, that you can, in fact, feel completely great about yourself at a bigger weight. And I'm not going to say that that can't happen. I'm not going to say it, because there are women out there that are like, hey, I like myself at a bigger size. My man likes it. I like it. It is what it is. I'm totally fine about that. But I have found that the majority of women out there that are bigger women, even if they're on the outside saying, but I'm curvier and this and that, they're still trying to work out on a regular basis. They still complain about, that they got cramps or that they're moody half the time. Like, they have enough complaints coming out of them to where I'm like, but you don't actually believe it. But just because you don't have the discipline to try to lose that weight, you're going to shame another woman that decided to get the discipline to do that. That's where I have a huge problem about that. But to be fair, again, these women were initially, because I look at people like Lizzo, like Missy Elliott, like Adele, or even like there were some other actresses too that, like, early on in their careers when they were big, they were all about telling people, hey, well, I'm tired of big women being shamed, and I wish that we could just accept this as net. And then and so their fans buy into that, especially if they're mostly women fans. They're like, hey, we agree. And then as soon as they lose weight, all those women are like, what are you sold us a lie, because you could have at the start of your career said, hey, I'm bigger, but I'm trying to lose weight. But that's also a problem, because they know if they go out and say that, then the women that are big are going to be like, what? But you're bigger. You should like yourself. Why don't you like yourself? No, I don't like myself. Oh my God. And then they feel bad about themselves. And then the woman that's big, that's trying to be a star, can't sell records unless they are big. And then they got to do this whole lie about, it's not because I'm not losing weight because I want to look better. I'm losing weight because I want to feel better. Let me ask you a question. Do you think she likes this outfit or this outfit? Which one do you think she likes better? Like, she could have worn this outfit and been like, I'm going to wear it to make a statement. But I can assure you, one, she's showing less skin here and looks better. And this one fits her body a lot better than this one did. So you can't make me believe this lie that because they're bigger, they feel better about themselves. But anyway, when the women stars do this, their fans come out in droves and start to have a negative reaction. Why is it that this happens? Well, the first reason is loss of representation. So basically, these celebrities were making the overweight women that were their fans feel seen and heard. And so, you got to figure that, to be fair, there's not been a lot of bigger women in mainstream media that had a lot of positive recognition. And so when one comes out that does that, like in the case of Lizzo, she can actually sing. In spite of her being big, she can actually move. And so women will cheer that on, right? Because it's like, hey, that woman looks like me and she's doing all this stuff. And so when that woman decides to lose that weight, now we have a problem. And the problem is it can start to feel like a personal betrayal, because you'll have the women fans at home that are bigger saying things like, but wait, you told us it was okay to be big, and now you're saying that you want to be smaller. That's not fair. So everything you told us before, was that a lie? Were you just using that for purposes of marketing? Did you not actually feel that way? And I could see how women would feel duped by that. And as a result of that, there'd be an emotional backlash. The second reason that women fans oftentimes react like that is because insecurity and self-comparison, because they're thinking that, wait a minute, if Lizzo thought that she needed to change, does that mean that I need to change? Which means, in effect, does that mean I'm not actually good enough as I am in my current body? And again, to be fair, these women stars were initially pushing that narrative that there's no need for you to change and you should feel totally fine and blah, 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 blah. So when they switch up, now the person at home's like, should I switch up also? Like, and then they start thinking this thing of like, well, she's only doing it because of insert reason. Oh, she's feeling as though she had to cave to the pressure, or she had to do this to get a certain brand deal and get more money, or she was starting to lose some of her male fans, so she wants to get a sexy body for them. And so it makes them think, it makes them reflect and think back on their own insecurities about themselves, and that does not feel good. And then the third reason why women fans oftentimes like fight back against this is because to them, it feels like a reinforcement of beauty standards, because let's be real, if you lose weight, you're going to look better by the majority of society. Everybody knows this, but especially women know this. The bigger women, they're sitting there thinking, I wish society would accept me as I am right now. But they also know on some level that their skinnier peers, everybody thinks that they look better. So they have to know on some level that if they lose the weight, that's going to be a thing for them too. But again, if they don't have the discipline for that, then it to them just feels like people should, they do a lot of shoulding. People should just think that how I am and how I look is totally beautiful and fine. And unfortunately for them, that's not a thing. Like, the body positivity movement has done its best to try to fight against this idea that you need to be thin to be beautiful and loved. Just natural biology. Like, for me, everything goes back down to natural biology of like when we're looking at other people and what we're reading off of them and their health and their lifestyle when we look at them. And just across the board, more often than not, in most parts of the world, Women that are are average to thinner typically indicate somebody that's healthier, more robust, able to live life a lot longer. And so we're biologically geared toward those people. So body positivity movement is trying to fight against something that's going to be very hard at large for the most of the world to fight against. And that's the same thing that Lizzo discovered, that Missy discovered, that Adele discovered, that all these big stars at one point discovered, that no matter how much they want to try to set new beauty standards, the world as a large is not going to do that. And that's a hard fight when you're trying to have a fan base and also trying to be healthy to yourself, you know? And so when these stars lose weight and then they get praised for it, for women at home that are still big, it now feels like a confirmation of that bias. It's the confirmation that society at large still prefers to have fitter people over skinnier people. So for example, they'll say before, like, you know, oh, they'll think, man, Lizzo's such an inspiration. Oh my gosh, she's so great. She's big and she's out there. And then, but as soon as she loses weight, everybody in the world's like, oh my God, you're so fine. You're so amazing. You're so beautiful. That dress on you was so sexy. Oh my God, you look so fantastic. And to the women at home, it can feel like a slap in the face. And I get it, because it is. It's like, it's feeling them like, no matter how much body positivity is being preached out there, the end goal reality is that more often than not, being thin is always going to be treated better. And I'm not saying that's a fair assessment. It's the same way, like in America here, it's like we could argue about like people need to treat black people better and this and that. We're still low end on dating apps. And no matter what we try to do to improve our image, that's probably going to forever be a thing. Okay. It's just the reality of the situation. But I want to also argue that in a real sense, regardless of what our opinion about it is, the end of the day is that Lizzo looks immensely happier being in a smaller body. She just does. Like, I'm going to pull up on stage real quick here. I've not seen her new music video yet. I keep meaning to catch it. I'm going to catch it at some point. But I do want to show just some behind the scenes footage of what she's moving like now and how she's moving. And you're going to see her overall demeanor is immensely happier. So this is her in the behind the scenes look of her newest video.
Now we can see the whole, but you can see it now. You can go again, just let the camera speak. Okay. Wipe my eye of shit out there.
Okay, I don't want to actually hear the song yet because I want to make sure it's a surprise for myself. So I'm going to turn this volume down. But you'll see. So you see here, this is her behind the scenes where she's dancing. Look at that. She's able to move a lot better now. She looks happier. Like, that looks to me like a legit Lizzo smile. Like, before, it just seemed like she was really faking it or trying to hide behind the smile because she doesn't want people to, like, she has this thing she's trying to push and she doesn't want to make people think that she's actually not happy with how she is. But I don't know. For me, Lizzo here, like, looks legit happy. You know, she looks like she's actually glad to be back working in a music video, whereas before it looked like a lot of times she was trying to fake it for her fans, you know? And so at the end of the day, it's this, is that I'm not saying that if you're at a bigger size, you can't be happy. That is not that. But I am pushing forth the narrative that the body positivity movement in and of itself is a complete fabricated lie. I have yet to have see any star that comes out that was formerly big be like, oh, I was actually happier when I was bigger. Oh my God, I wish I could gain that weight back. That's not a thing because, again, I myself, having just only gained a little bit overweight, I was not happy with the way my body looked. I didn't like having a pouchy stomach. I didn't like the fact that I felt tired and all the time. And so, yeah, this narrative that she was trying to push, this is why when women that are big come out and want to be stars, they should not be pushing this narrative. Like, I get it. They don't want to shame anybody else, but it's okay for them to say, hey, this is how I am right now, but don't think I'm not in the gym and I'm working out. They could say, I'm working out because of myself, because I want to feel better. And I know that it's going to help my health in the long time. And also, I have cute little outfits that I want to wear that won't fit me at this size. That's totally fine. But for their fan base, I would say, stop relying on celebrities to give you your self-esteem. Because your celebrity, they may go from being skinny to big and back again, or they could decide altogether to be out of the limelight. And then what are you going to do? So it's not their job to make you feel good about yourself. And I think that's the problem that people have here, is that they're relying on celebrity to give them their self-esteem. Please stop doing that because it's only to your detriment. And it is not Lizzo's job to make you feel happy about being big or skinny. But I'm very happy that she's on a health journey that's allowing her to feel better and also look better in the process. But with that said, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about the body positivity movement? How do you feel about Lizzo in general and her ability to go from being this way to being this way? Do you like it? Do you think it's a bad thing to do? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out my newest album, Allow Me to Reintroduce Myself, Volume 1. The links are in the description, as well as my newest single, 1,000 Baby Oil Bottles. Anyway, that's all I got for today, guys. I am APT Songs, and I will catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace. I'm slicker than 1,000 baby oil bottles. If you ask him, did he do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm popping models. If you see me on the mic, you know I go at it full throttle. If you hate on me today, then you gon' really hate tomorrow. I'm slicker than 1,000 baby oil bottles. If you ask him, did he do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm popping models. If you see me on the mic, you know I go at it